Well, hello. My name is Gary Carson. I'm a retired school teacher, lives in Kansas. And I just learned that you can't switch the camera direction without stopping the video. So I don't know if I'm on camera or not, but if I'm not, you haven't missed that much. I've been wood turning for about 10 years, and in that time I've watched hundreds of videos on wood turning, and all of them have been helpful in one way or another. However, none of them have addressed the lathe itself. And I don't know if there's 10 federal laws against that, mentioning the brand and so on, but partly because I'm 71 and partly because I'm somewhat independent, I don't care. This is for beginners or potential turners to give them an idea of what you can do to get started and what you can do with an older machine. So, I'm going to go over and look at the machine and talk about it a little bit. I hope you enjoy it. Well, this is it. This is called a Walker Turner lathe, and the Walker Turner company started in the late 1920s and made different tools, and then in 1956 they sold to Rockwell and then continued to sell under the Walker Turner name into the 60s. So this machine is probably about as old as I am. I know it's at least 60 years old, and I can do anything with it that the big boys can do. I just can't do it as fast. I gave $100 for this machine and got the machine, all the blue handle chisels that you can see, 6 face plates, the external tool rest and stand that's very heavy, and it was sitting in a shed. A friend of mine had bought it at a school surplus equipment auction, and then didn't do anything with it and sold it to me. So I want to show you some of the things about it. You see all the quick change things on the modern lathe. There's nothing quick about this. The tailstock, you have to have this wrench to loosen and tighten to the bed so that you can move the tailstock. To lock the tailstock, once you have it extended, you have to tighten this bolt, and that takes a 1/2 inch wrench. The tool rest takes the same tool. You have to loosen and to move that, and then tighten it back up. As far as the height and the swivel on the tool rest, that's controlled by this here. The machine has a 1/3 horse single phase electric motor, and it turns at 1750 RPMs. Now you notice that the motor, you can't see the hinges because they're on the other side, but the only thing keeping tension on the belt on the pulley is the weight of the motor. There is no idler pulley. Now, the downside of that is if you get a bad catch or get too aggressive when you're turning something, your blank will stop because the belt will slip. The upside of that is if you get too aggressive or have a bad catch, the belt will slip. Nobody's hurt. Pull the tool out, it goes back to running, and you're good to go. You could put a tightener on the motor base right here. Just a bolt with a wing nut that would swing down. But I kind of like being able to screw up and get by with it without getting hurt. The machine does have variable speed, but it's not infinite. These are the pulleys for the headstock. These are the pulleys, the drive pulleys. The slowest, which is set on now, is 615 RPMs. The next one is 1265. The next one is 1300. And the fastest, no, I'm sorry, 2200. This is 1300. This is 2200. This is 4425. And that's as fast as you ever want to go. To change those, you lift up on the motor and take the belt and move it to a different set of pulleys. On the outside headstock, I have, of course, a left-handed faceplate, and then the tool stand and the tool rest sits out here, and they're very heavy. It's approximately 5 inches from the center of the spindle to the bed. So the biggest diameter piece that you can turn inside is a little less than 10 inches. If you go outside, you can do whatever you're brave enough to do. The biggest piece I've ever turned on here was 19 inches in diameter. And the only reason, and I didn't turn the edges, the only reason I had it out here was because it was a TV tray excuse me, that I converted to a bed tray or a chair tray, food tray, for a friend who had shoulder replacement. And I wanted a depression in the surface where the plate, dinner plate, would sit and not move around. But that was kind of exciting. As far as chisels, everybody has pretty much all the same ones. These are older ones that came with the machine, and then I added 3 of the newer generation tools that take carbide replacement blades. The advantages to this machine are that the bearings are standard, the pulleys are standard, the belt is standard. This particular machine sits on a metal frame table with a wooden top and 2-inch casters. And you probably wonder about having a lathe on casters. Well, if you get something that's true, you don't notice any vibration at all. If you get something that's out of round, it will vibrate and move around a little. However, because the tool rest is attached to the bed, and if you have your tool secured like you should, it's always going to stay the same difference from your work. The other thing about casters is if you have something out of round and it vibrates, the machine doesn't take all of the abuse by itself, which is easier on the bearings and everything else. The other thing about having it on casters is it's very, very heavy, and I tend to be a rearranger for whatever reason, and so if I need to, I can clear a path and move this where I want to. This is a blank faceplate that I just put a sacrifice piece on. I don't have any jaw chucks, I don't have a drill chuck, I don't have a screw chuck. So everything I do is with faceplates and or hot glue. And I've made a lot of stuff just using those. As far as drilling a hole in the middle of a blank, because I don't have drill chucks, I just take my drill, either put a Forstner bit or a spade bit in, lock the shaft on the outside with a pipe wrench, and drill directly into the blank. That's not as true as you would get using the tailstock, but it doesn't have to be because you're going to turn it out anyway. Well, there you have it. I hope that if anybody does watch this, they got something out of it. If you have a question or a comment, you can contact me at all lowercase Gary W. Carson at gmail.com. That's GARYWCARSON at gmail.com. Hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching.